Am I the asshole for yelling at my husband after we got back from my 7 months nephew's funeral? I'm sorry for any mistakes. I'm just so mad right now. My 26F nephew passed away from SID on Monday. It was sudden, it was devastating, and I had to get my husband 33M back from his work to go see my sister who was with my family. It was a 4 hours drive, so we got there around noon. I stayed with my sister and helped around the house while my family were calling to let other family members know about what happened. My sister has a 6-year-old son. I helped take care of him most of the time for my sister and brother-in-law. It's been very difficult. My sister wanted to have a burial 2 days after her baby passed away. At first my husband told me he didn't want to go and wanted to watch the kids at my parents' home, and when I told him that his family will be there and ask about him, he said that he already told his mom that having a funeral wasn't necessary and doubted that she'd even come. I told him he could at least show support for my sister and her husband. He eventually went with me and stayed with my dad the whole time. I kept watching him and saw that he was on his phone the entire time, and it was obvious my dad was feeling uncomfortable by this. After the funeral, he started going around asking the guests for a charger. I told him to stop, but he was being inappropriate and told me to ask my sister if she wanted to give us some stuff that belonged to my nephew for our baby. He said this in front of my mom and I didn't know what to say. He even asked my brother-in-law and my dad how much they paid and was surprised by their response, telling them that he thought it was unnecessary. We returned yesterday, and in the evening my dad sent me a message saying that my husband was being inappropriate and they didn't appreciate his behavior in front of the guests and the family. Said that he was embarrassing them with his questions and that he should apologize to my brother-in-law and my sister. My husband saw the text and lost it. He called my parents ungrateful and awful. I told him they were right about what they said. And he said that I should have told them that he's done them a huge favor by attending in the first place instead of siding with them. And just went on about how awful my sister and her husband are and that they should put their remaining son up for adoption because they failed at being parents and that God saved my nephew from them. I yelled at him for what he said and his massive disrespect for my family. We argued for some time before he called his mom to complain to her about it. He's now saying that I'm in the wrong for siding with them and that I should call them after what they said about him. Edit, grammar.
Wow, I would file for divorce immediately.
Not the asshole, your husband is a monster. Why are you with him? Not the asshole, but I think you know this goes farther than just being insensitive. Your family was grieving the loss of a small child and he had the gall to harass people for a fucking phone charger because he couldn't even pretend to give a shit about anyone there but himself. His behavior was frankly appalling, and the fact that he doesn't understand that worrisome. I just hope he is able to grow some compassion by the time you have your baby.
Not the asshole, your husband sounds like a massive douche. Well, now you know who you're really married to and get to decide if you want to continue building a life and family with someone so cold and heartless as to have said God saved your nephew from your sister and Bill's care. FYI, it's easier if you end things before you have your baby. Not the asshole. On top of everything else, the fact that he called his mother for support is a big sign of immaturity. He ought to be able to work out problems with you as a couple, and not go lining up allies. It sounds like his mother didn't criticize him about his terrible behavior either, so that may be an indicator of where his attitudes are coming from. P.S. I'm so sorry about your nephew.
Not the asshole, your husband went out of his way to be disrespectful and show his disdain for the mourners. His behavior and particularly his later comments are unforgivable. I can't even begin to understand his hate-filled reaction, but it's something that you need to address with him.
You are the asshole. I have been reading your responses and making excuses for his terrible behavior at a child's funeral. Not just any child. Your sister's baby. This is just awful. NTA, he was incredibly out of line. I'm sorry that you have to deal with him. They just lost their child and he had the nerve to say that. You really need to ask yourself, is this the kind of person you want being a parent to your child, since you mentioned in a reply you're pregnant? Ask him if that happened to your baby and how would he feel if someone told him that.
Op info. What else does your husband do and what other bad behavior has he exhibited over the years? Because I have a feeling that this behavior is the tip of a very large iceberg.
Not the asshole. WTAF is wrong with him. He seems immature.
Selfish and callous. If this was me, his ass would be on the curb.
Wow. So not the asshole. I am shocked by your husband's behavior.
YTA. You tolerate and defend and underreact to this awful man.
Info. Do you have kids?
YWBTA. If you stay with him, there is something missing inside of him and he will destroy your relationship with your family completely, which sounds like his goal. Please take your head out of the sand and run. No decent human being would behave like this, and a road shared with him is guaranteed to be awful for you and your child.
You say you are so mad about this, but what are you planning to do about it? How could you get into a vehicle with a man who said such dreadful things about the death of a child? Why are you still with him? I would not be surprised if your family refuses to have you at any family function ever again as long as you remain with this monster.
Not the asshole. I'm so sorry for your loss, but you should reconsider this relationship. If you, God forbid, should ever lose a child, he clearly won't want you mourning said child or even having a funeral.
Wow. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Not the asshole. Your husband is a huge asshole. Being supportive of someone else's grief is not a favor. It's basic human decency. If this was a funeral for a 7-week pregnancy that miscarried, I'd still call him an ass for being so rude and unsupportive in the presence of grieving family. But he begrudges holding a funeral for a fully born, 7-month-old infant. I would be more disturbed if the family did not hold a funeral for their child. Is this callous disregard of his a new development for him? Or is there some troubled history between your family and your husband?
Not the asshole. Yes, your husband sucks. But he did tell you he didn't want to go and said insensitive shit before the funeral, so why did you force him to go? This can't have been the first time he showed what a thoughtless ass he is, right? Yes, he should apologize, but he probably won't. So you either have to divorce him or resign yourself to the fact that your family is going to hate his guts forever. As they should. Without a sincere apology and explanation, they won't ever want to see him again.
Wow. That is beyond disgusting. Not the asshole. Info. Genuinely asking, had he lost anyone in his life? I'm wondering if he's coping poorly, because he's had a traumatic experience at funeral homes and was trying to be nice and get out of it, saying he'd watch the kids but tried to be there for you and just, yeah. This would be the only explanation I accept.
That God saved my nephew from them. So, your husband literally said this baby's death was a good thing. And he started asking your sister and brother-in-law for his things for your own baby? Are you kidding me here? You husband is a horrible, vile, callous person. It's one thing to have no empathy, it's another to be deliberately cruel to them in this time of grief. I'm not clear if you have children with him yet or not, but I hope for your and your children's sake you don't. This is not just a poor reaction, this is awful. You're not the asshole, and I think you should really reconsider your relationship.
I was gonna say not the asshole until I read how you're giving him an out for his behavior in your comments. You are the asshole for subjecting everyone to him, having a kid with him, and being an enabler and making everyone suffer for your husband being completely horrid.
Not the asshole. He is being terrible on so many levels. Is this totally new behavior for him, or has been like this for a while and this situation finally made it impossible to ignore?
I wonder what is your point of no return. He showed to you how ugly and egoistic he can be. It's a fucking funeral of a child. A child. How much bullshit can you get from this man before you broke down? After your family start to stop inviting you from events? It's your fault whatever happens from now on. Good luck, and you not the asshole. Set your options in life straight.
Not the asshole. Your husband's behavior was truly appalling. He lacks any empathy. What a disgusting individual. I really do not think you can have a good future with someone like that. It's time for a divorce.
Not the asshole. WTF. Your husband sounds awful. I honestly would give a lot of thought as to whether I'd stay with him or not. That's disgusting behavior. And I'm sorry for your loss.
You want to raise children with this guy?
Sounds similar to my uncle, a diagnosed psychopath. He acted similarly at a funeral when I was a kid, and it left an imprint on the family that will never fade. He's in jail now, for killing someone. Info, why are you with this guy?
Not the asshole. He doesn't think it's necessary to have a funeral for a baby. I see a big red flag here when it comes to having children with that man. God saved your niece from them. Jesus Christ. What a selfish man, not the asshole.
Your husband sounds like a sociopath. I don't think he is capable of emotions. It's a disaster, but I don't think it can be cured.
Not the asshole. Pack your shit and go home to your family. At best he's a monster, at worst he's a complete psycho.
Fucking run.
He thought a funeral wasn't necessary. Who the fuck says that? Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Betcha he's pro-life too.
For the love of Christ, stop. Please try and get away from this man. He seems to be a terrible human being to say that about two parents who just kissed their damn child. He's lucky he didn't say that around your other family members because they'd have every right to kill him. Please op, if you can do it at all, get away from this man ASAP. What the hell? This would marriage ending for me. Your husband has problems. I hope your parents and sister and brother-in-law go no contact with him. He's garbage and there's no coming back from this.
Holy shit balls. Divorce this monster now, hun. What an absolute cesspool of a person. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. The way he acted is disgusting, and if it were me, no matter the situation or the length of time together, I'd get rid of him.
Although I'm verging on you are the asshole. Stop making excuses for him. He's a grown-ass man. Your sister lost a child. The pain of losing a child is unimaginable. Instead of wondering whether you were too mean to your husband, think about how his actions have not only disrespected but hurt your grieving family. I'd also reconsider starting a family with this man if this is his behavior at a 7-month-old's funeral. Lord help the man that tries to pull this stunt on my family. I'd give him something to cry to his mom about.
Not the asshole. Your husband is. Just wow. Divorce him. Why does he hate your family so much though? I mean, yes, he behaved like God knows what, but I feel like a lot of context is being left out to explain his attitude.
Welcome to Am I the Asshole? Please view our voting guide here, and remember to use only one judgment in your comment. Help keep the sub engaging. #Dawn. Downvote assholes. Do upvote interesting posts. Click here for our rules, and click here for our FAQ. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit message compose to =Amy the asshole if you have any questions or concerns.
Not the asshole. He can't get his head out of his own ass for one day for the death of a literal baby. Seriously, how are you able to even look him in the eyes?
Not the asshole. Oh my god, he sounds absolutely insufferable. I am very sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry that your husband is so unsupportive.
Wait.so your husband is pretty much saying he is glad your nephew died because it saved him from your sister. Had he lost his grand mind? What qualities can he possibly possess that would make you love him after that?
I hate your husband. WTF, not the asshole. Not the asshole. He is only him. Does he have redeeming qualities? Right now he's coming off like a flaming bag of shit.